my name is Andrea Verdel and I'm here to guide you through this Southern Voice tutorial. I'm here to give you some tips on how to do better videos. Okay, so we've got some of the pre-production basics down. Have your shot list and your storyboard with you and head out to shoot. Before you start, what are you shooting with? Do you have a camera or a phone? Make sure you're very familiar with the video settings. Take some time to explore and do some test runs. Whatever equipment you're using, make sure it is set to its highest resolution and of course that you have enough memory to record your videos, and also battery. I have decided to use my phone as my filming device. The first thing to keep in mind is to always film using the landscape or horizontal format. Hold your camera or phone with two hands for stability. The three basics for good video are audio, light and framing. Getting good audio is super important. Some might argue it's even more important than getting good footage. There are a couple of options to recording audio. You can either capture the ambient sound, which will include background noise, or you can use a microphone. In either setting, what's important is to keep your environment as controlled as possible. If you're shooting an interview, avoid doing it in a noisy office or coffee shop. Doing an interview in an outside setting can be tricky as well, as you don't know what unexpected noise can come up. Try to find a quiet office or room for an interview. Background noise is fine, as long as you know there won't be constant interruptions. Avoid large empty spaces, as they will create an echo resulting in poor audio content. Here are some options that work and some that don't.
The Think Tank Communications Health Check is a tool that is designed to help think tanks refine their comms.
Concept that you think that they have everything said, but some websites are not really.
Intellectual development. This is one of the earliest areas where
remember to completely turn off devices that can be distracted, like your phone or alarm watch. If you're filming audio content without a microphone, plug your earphones in to get a clear idea of what your audio is sounding like. I know there seems to be a lot to think about so far, but bear with me here. Let's take a look at lighting. Good video has good lighting. If you're filming outside, try to avoid doing it at noon or when the sun is set at the highest. Ideally, you will shoot in the early morning or when the sun is setting. Think of the time of the day when there are no harsh contrasts to find even lighting. If you're shooting indoors or don't have a dedicated set of lights, try to find a room with a nice big window. If you're shooting general scenes of a room or an office space, try to avoid shooting objects or people against a window, as they will appear backlit. As for interviews, this is a common light setup. Have your subject sit next to the window. Use a whiteboard or a large piece of white cardboard to bounce the light from the window onto the other side of your shot. Turn on a light at the back or direct a lamp to the background. Now it's time to set your frame. Try to frame your image to include all of the information that is relevant to the message you're trying to tell. If you're shooting an office space, avoid messy spaces. If you're shooting outside, make sure to give us a little bit of context. Don't just show a busy street that could be anywhere in the world. Find something that makes that street unique and include that. The key to telling better stories is in the details. Find something that shows out what part of the world you're in. And of course, make sure everything is in focus. Whether the person is standing up or sitting down, crop the frame 10 centimeters below her shoulders, at waist level, or include their whole frame. Make sure your frame is wide enough to include their hand gestures. Finally, if you're shooting an interview, take a look at what will appear behind the person talking. Ask yourself, is it relevant? Try to keep a clean, neat background if not. When setting up an interview, avoid placing your subject in the middle of the frame. Always give them a little bit of space on one side. In an ideal interview setting, the recording device would be placed on a tripod. If you don't have access to a tripod, try to place your camera or phone on a table or shelf, ensuring it is at eye level with the person you're interviewing. You should position yourself next to your recording device and ask them to look at you and not the camera. If you're interviewing more than one person, make a note of where you frame each one. left or right. Avoid having them all sit on the same side of a frame. Mix it up. As far as action shots go, make sure you frame your shot to include the whole of the action and the subject. If the person or object is moving, try panning. To do this, follow your subject with the camera. Always record a few seconds with still camera movement at the start and at the end of your action shot. It will give you some wiggle room when you edit your video. As for zooming in and out, my main advice is to avoid doing it. If you want to get a closer shot, move towards your subject. If you want your shot to be wider, take a few steps back. This will help retain the quality of your video. As most of you know, selfies are extremely popular on social media. Whether you like them or not, there are certainly ways in which shooting a selfie can be used to your advantage. Several organizations have used selfie videos as a way to show their audiences who they are, how and where they work. If you're shooting a selfie video, make sure to hold your phone in landscape format and use the whole length of your arm. Try to include some context. Avoid a tight crop of your face. Speak clearly, loudly and to the camera. You'll have less control of the audio here, so loud and clear is always a good way to go.